All right, moving along. Number 8. This one might be a little rougher. I know that we can get not D, and here it is. It's the antecedent of an if-then statement, so by modus tollens, if I can prove that the consequent is false, I can conclude the antecedent is false. Everything's a mess, isn't it? So we're just going to start doing what we can. First thing I notice here is that the antecedent, no, the consequent of the first premise is the antecedent of the second. So by, I call it chain argument, in your book it's hypothetical syllogism. By hypothetical syllogism, when I combine those, the B's kind of cancel out, and I'm left with if A, then not C. And that's from lines 1 and 2, hypothetical syllogism. If you're not sure you're following along, check the rule for hypothetical syllogism. When you have when the consequent of one if-then is the antecedent of another, you may drop it and hook the other two up. That's what we've done here for line 4. Let's see. Well, now we know if A, then not C. So at least we have our A and C in the same statement. We didn't before, and we're going to need it to do our modus tollens at the end for line 3. So one thing we can conclude, you may remember this from, it's not De Morgan's, it's the other one. Implication. Implication allows us to go from an if-then to an or statement. If you have A, then you have not C. So either you don't have A, or if you do, then you have not C. Check the rule for, I believe this is implication. Yes. Just so we're clear, here's how this works. When you go, you can validly go from an if-then to an or. You keep the second part the same, you negate the first part. That's kind of how this rule works, right? Then, we know if you don't have A or you don't have C, right? If I don't have my keys or I don't have my wallet, then I know that one thing I don't have is both my keys and my wallet. So I know that if I don't have A or I don't have C, I don't know which one, but I know that I don't have both A and C together. This is De Morgan's. We've gone from an or to an and. When we do that, all kinds of things happen. We kind of pull the negatives out, you might say. There's a lot of different ways to talk about it. But the bottom line is that if you were to draw the truth tables for both of these statements, you would find that they mean the same thing. So De Morgan's, thank you De Morgan's. De Morgan's has allowed us to get the kind of statement we need, because now you see this negated A and C is the negation of this consequent. Now we're set up for our modus tollens to get rid of this D, like our conclusion asked for. And finally then, we can draw our conclusion, not D, because as we just said, line 6 denied the consequent of line 3. And when that happens by modus tollens, when the consequent is false, the antecedent must also be false. So from lines 3 and 6, modus tollens, we were able to conclude the conclusion that we were looking for in the first place. Take them in, look it over, follow the steps, right? Take out your sheet and follow the steps as we're going through it and see how the rules are validly applied. One of the great things about this problem, and maybe this is worth writing down somewhere, maybe putting it on your fridge or whatever you do. One of the great things about this is it uses both implication and De Morgan's. We had the statement we needed, but we didn't have it in the right form. Those two rules allowed us to put it in the right form.